Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Genuine APBT. On today's episode, the biblical reading would be James chapter 4, verse 6. But he gives a greater grace. Therefore, it says, God is opposed to the proud, but gives grace to the humble. So, on today's episode, I want to show an example of that. I want to actually show some humility in admitting and recognizing and owning when I'm wrong. And I believe I was wrong to an extent on the following stuff. In a previous video, I had been corresponding back and forth on the comments and on the replying with Twin City Bulldog Club. And I appreciate that. We had been talking about raw feeding versus kibble. And I believe his position, correct me if I'm wrong, brother, but his position was he was raw feeding and kibble at the same time. And that worked out for him to fix the issues that he had faced when he was purely raw feeding. And my position was I was disagreeing. And I thought that the issues were more genetic and part of breeding as opposed to something external like feeding. And so we just went, back and forth, corresponded like two adult men should. No drama, nothing crazy. Just, we agreed to disagree, and that's okay. There is no perfect position. No one knows everything in these dogs. And it's also a situation to where whatever works for you and whatever you see good results from, that's what you keep doing and that's what you keep practicing. So that's how it ended. But in the last month and a half, my dogs, particularly Zephyr, had a problem known as lick granuloma or acral dermatitis. And that's basically fancy words for they lick themselves and they create an open wound or close to it, and they keep reopening it, and the wound never heals. It's pretty nasty, and that can happen. And so I didn't know at first that this was going on. I didn't see the dog licking himself, so I assumed it was a skin problem. It was an allergy issue or where I had the dog housed. I even switched over from the horse mats over to some wooden pallets, and that didn't do the trick. And this was extremely frustrating. It was an ongoing issue for a good 6-7 months. I tried tons and tons of topical approaches to fixing the problem. I even did some different rounds of antibiotics, which seemed to help, and then it would just keep coming back. So I finally took him to the vet, and she looked at him and tested him, and she came up with, hey, the most probable cause is that he is licking himself. He's going through this lick granuloma, and this is what it looks like historically in these dogs. And so she gave me some antibiotics and some medication for the itching. But before I tried that, I wanted to try one more fix. And so what I did is I changed their feeding. And believe it or not, I have been a huge advocate of raw feeding because I still believe that it is a better food source for the dogs than kibble, just on the basis of it being less processed. And I still believe that. But in some particular instances, we have to break down and say, hey, could I be wrong? And that's what I did. Could I be missing something, some trace minerals, some vitamins, some nutrients that were necessary to maybe assist with the itching in the skin? And I believe I was. I believe I was wrong. And I believe my brother was right there from Twin City Bulldog Club. He was right in assessing that there are times and there are particular dogs or particular families of dogs or particular strains that don't do well or can have a negative effect at some point even. It's not a generalization. It's not always. I'm certainly not saying that it's much better to feed kibble or better to feed kibble again than raw feeding. But in this particular instance, it did work for my dogs. Going to kibble in the last 2 months has produced less licking in the dogs. And so the wounds have gotten a lot better. And I wanted to make a video about this because it's important for people to know and understand that if you believe that your way is the best and you never have an open mind to change or learning from other people that love this breed, you're going to back yourself up into an alley and it's not going to work out for you. You're going to have something like you get kennel blindness when you don't see the mistakes or the inconsistencies in your breeding program. You can do the same in your husbandry and how you treat the animals. You can think that your way is the best and you're not open again to learning anything new. And so I didn't want that to be the case. And I certainly didn't want to keep it private. When something like this is helpful, you want to put it out there at the cost of you looking like the person that was wrong. And that's okay. It's okay to do that. It's good to do that because what it does is it humbles you. It reminds you that you learned everything that you're practicing. You learned it from somebody else. It's not yours. Nothing is novel. Everything has been done before. It's just coming around in cycles and we're using it. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful for Twin City Bulldog Club because I was able to remember that when I was going through that. And I thought, you know what, maybe I should try it. So I wanted to put it out here, out in the open, because I think this is the way we should get along in the community. We have to admit, we have to own when we're wrong, and we have to put it out there. I think that's what makes us true men and women. You know, if you're a woman and you're into these dogs, and you're an adult, we need to act like adults, and this is part of it. And we need to be open and say, hey, I was wrong, and it's working out. So you're right. It's working out in this case. And I'm actually really surprised on how everything else, forget about the licking for a moment and the problem that they had with that. Maple had it a little bit too, but not as much as Zephyr. But it actually, they look great. I thought for a second they were going to get fat, and, I was kind of bummed out, and I was really just focused on dealing with the issue of the lick granuloma. But it actually hasn't harmed the dogs at all. And they've been on strict, kibble. I'm not going to advocate for the kibble right now. I'm not going to say which one I'm using or anything like that because I just don't, I don't want to sway you either way. That's something that you might want to check out. But it's not as bad as what I thought. It really isn't. Maybe it's come a long way. I don't know. And on the other hand, I'm going to be honest with you. It's a lot more convenient. It was a lot of work to do the raw feeding. Tons and tons and tons of work on my end. I was pretty extreme. I'm very analytical and I'm very intense and I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So when I do something, I need to do it to the absolute highest quality. And that could be a problem that put a lot of burden on me. And, I'm 56, going on 57 here. And, you get weaker, you get slower. And in order to sustain keeping these animals, you need to make changes sometimes. So anyways, I wanted to put that out there. Again, thank you for, sticking to your guns. And we were going back and forth. It's a good thing. Stick to what worked. And that's good because it actually helped me out in the long run with my dogs with this issue. Now, will I go back to raw feeding? I don't know. Only because, the convenience factor again. And I got to, put that into the balance when I look at everything. So, all right. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it taught you something. I hope it at least taught you to be humble and admit when, you could better and improve. And we should all do that. All right. Know them, love them, and raise them responsibly.